So you want to get found online, but you feel like you're kind of shooting from the hip and you don't really have a strategy. And so today in this video, I'm going to talk to you about the different platform categories and how you can use them to get found online and get more clients. So before we dive into the content, I want to shout out my own marketing course. If you go to agency.butlerbranding.com, we teach this stuff. We have a course on marketing. All right, so when it comes to getting found online, nobody wants to do the shotgun method. The shotgun method is kind of like spraying everything out there, seeing what sticks. You feel like you're kind of shooting from the hip, and when you do that, you're going to probably be posting a ton of content. You're going to be on all the different platforms, but you really don't have a strategy or a thought behind it, and you're going to feel like you're a hamster on a wheel. So today I want to talk to you about the different platform categories, right? So there's really three primary platform categories when it comes to getting found online. Understanding what they are, how people interact with them, and how they work is going to help you figure out what strategies and tactics you might want to incorporate for your business. So today I'm not going to give you these specific strategies and tactics. I'm just giving an overview of the different platform categories. And there's really three of them. There's search engines, social media, and directories. So let's take them one by one. Search engines. Okay, when Butler first started, we actually were just a small design shop, so we focused on graphic design, web design, and basic, what we called off-page SEO. SEO stands for search engine optimization. And so we've been in the search engine optimization game since 2012 when we first started. Understanding SEO can be an extremely complex bag of worms if you want to open that up. And there's companies that are dedicated to just doing that. If you go to Moz, for example, they have insanely complex platforms that you can buy tools and hire specialists to focus on SEO. But at least to understand the fundamentals is going to help you get found online through search engines. Okay, so before there was a bunch of search engines you had to think about. There's Yahoo, Bing, Google. Really now the only one you really need to care about is Google. So when we talk about SEO, we're really talking about how do you get found on Google whenever someone does a search for whatever it is you do. So how do you do that? Okay, so understanding how search engines work is the very first step. So the way I explain it is you got to think about the internet as being like this gigantic library, right? And every website on the internet is like a book in the library. So this library called the internet has billions and billions of different books that you could possibly choose from. So if you're entering into this library, it's overwhelming. How do I find the type of book that it is that I'm looking for? Well, that's where you go to the librarian. The librarian understands the layout of the library. They know how to point you to the best content, right? So the question is, okay, how do I game the system? How can I hack Google to where I get seen on top of all my competitors? Unfortunately, there is no hack, there is no game. Back in the day, in the early days of SEO, people learned how to trick the system, and it was called black hat SEO tactics. Black hat SEO tactics was basically tricking the system so that your website would get seen in higher search rankings. And so they found out that, marketers ruin everything. Marketers found out that Google, one of the algorithm trigger points was keywords, right? So if a website had a ton of keywords in the website or in the copy, then Google their spiders would crawl the web and they would find out that this website has a ton of keywords related to whatever it is someone's searching. And so people have said, hey, I know how to trick the system. I'm gonna stuff a ton of keywords into my website. Well, guess what? Google found out what people were doing and they started penalizing people with lower rankings who were trying to hack the system. And so if you're talking to an online marketer and they're trying to get you onto some SEO trend that sounds kind of scammy and like it's tricking the system and black hat tactic-ish, if that's a word, black hat tactic-y, then it probably is. And what's gonna happen is you might get some short-term wins followed by some penalizations that's actually gonna really hurt you in the long run. Okay, so how do you do it? Well, just as if you go into the library, if the librarian sends you to a book that has an ugly looking cover written by a no-name author that's not endorsed by anybody, you open up the table of contents and it doesn't make sense as to what you're gonna find inside, and you start reading it and the book is just all around bad, then one of two things happen. Either Google, the librarian, did not do his job, or there was a lack of good content for that specific search query. Okay, so if you want to get seen, you have to have a beautiful looking book or beautiful looking website. So design does matter. User experience matters. So that would be like your table of contents. How is the navigation of this website? How is this thing laid out? Getting endorsements or credibility. This would be the same thing as kind of like getting other websites linking to you, or getting reviews, getting other websites or people talking about your brand. And so all of these things go into getting increased SEO. If you can get some sort of way or incentive for people to visit your website, Google triggers and sees, hey, there's a lot of activity going on this website, and so they're gonna take a look and see what's going on. It's the same thing as getting buzz around a book. And so if you just think about what's called white hat tactics, which is ethical practices for SEO, you will get increased organic search engine rankings. Okay, that is just an overview of organic SEO. There's this whole other thing called SEM, which is search engine marketing. This is where you can pay Google, and you know, if you ever do an inquiry in Google, you see two different types of results. Actually, you see three. You see the paid ads at the top, you see the organic rankings in the Google My Business section, and then you see organic rankings just in what we call the search engine results pages. Okay, the paid ads at the top, these are people who are paying for specific keywords. And you say, well, I thought keywords are bad. No, keywords aren't bad. They are a trigger, but they could tell if you're trying to game the system. If you have a Google AdWords account, you can actually pay Google for specific keywords. And this in itself is also a very complex discipline. It's actually best to have a digital marketing specialist take a look at how to set up your Google ads if that's the route you want to go. But really at the end of the day, you still have to incorporate those white hat tactics and have your website built correctly. It's got to be built beautifully. You have to have a good user experience, and you should still get backlinks and other people referencing your website, or else you'll have to pay a higher premium for those ads, or you actually might get seen below on maybe the second or third page on the ads, which you don't want. Okay, so enough of search engines. Now we're gonna be talking about social media. I spent most of my time on search engines because that's really the thing that most people wanna know. But social media is huge. Now before, social media was more of like interruption marketing. So meaning I'm gonna go on Facebook or Instagram, and I'm gonna look at the people that I follow, usually friends, family, people that I look up to, people that inspire me, and I just wanna see what they're posting, right? And so you scroll through your feed, and then all of a sudden you're interrupted with an ad or with a post from someone that you're not following, right? So this is usually like paid social media as opposed to organic social media. So you're interrupting people with paid ads on social media. Now, nowadays, with the rise in platforms like TikTok, it's not necessarily just interruption. People are going there intentionally looking for new types of content and new types of creators. And so when you go on social media, it's actually a great platform. And there's two different primary ways to do it. There's organic and paid. For all of Butler's tactics, the way we do it at Butler, I actually am a big fan of doing as much organic as you possibly can and doing as little paid as you possibly can. But I'm not against paid, it's just I'm primarily for organic. Okay, so if you're gonna post organic content or paid content on social media, the primary use for social media is all about brand positioning and awareness. So this is your opportunity to make a statement or to help position your brand, which is basically influencing public perception of how people think and what comes to people's mind when they think about your brand. So the most engaging form of content on social media nowadays is video. I highly recommend that if you are going to implement a social media strategy, that you incorporate video into your social media strategy. The third type of online platform, the category of platform, is directories. And this is things like Behance, Dribbble, Freelancer, Fiverr.com. These are actually really good. They can be really good and they can be really bad. It depends on what your goals are. I know a lot of creative entrepreneurs who are just getting started and they don't have any kind of network and they don't have anybody that they've done work for, so they go onto these directories, they show samples of their work or at least their capabilities, and these directories are awesome because they actually own the audience, and the audience is going to that directory specifically looking for people like you. Okay, so the cool part is that they are getting the audience for you. They're doing the hard work of getting the audience, and you just have to have a really good presence there. Now, tips if you're going to use directories like this, One is you have to get very specific in regards to the type of work that you're showing. So if you're saying, hey, I have all of these capabilities, I could do SEO, I can do web design, I can do website development, I can do UX strategy, I can do logo design, and your portfolio on that directory is just all over the place, people are gonna get confused and they're not gonna know what to hire you for. The people that do the best on these platforms are ones that have a very consistent look and feel to their portfolio, and they're very clear as to the one type of thing that they're really specializing in. So that's one tip for directories. Another tip is that you kind of have to be selective as to what directories you want to invest your time in. The reason why is because if you have a higher level brand and you're trying to position yourself as higher level, typically that doesn't fit within the Fiverr ecosystem, maybe not even the freelancer ecosystem. Maybe you want to focus more on Dribbble or Behance if you're having higher level creative services. And so you do have to kind of think about that. It could be a detriment to your brand positioning if you're trying to position yourself as higher level and you're primarily using something like Fiverr. At Butler, the way we do it for online marketing at least is SEO, social media, and obviously YouTube. This is where you're watching this content more than likely. So for SEO, we really focus on the content on our website. And so I'm always looking at the user experience. I'm always kind of critiquing what can we do differently. We're adding blog content. We're trying to add our case studies and our portfolio. When Google sees that we're really taking an initiative to build a website that's beautiful and it's catered to the people that we're trying to attract, they're going to give us higher and higher rankings. So SEO is a big part of our online marketing strategy. Social media is as well, but not all platforms are the same. So the same tactics that I'm using for SEO are not the same tactics that I'm going to use for social media. You have to kind of think about your platform and create content that that each audience wants on the various platforms. So for social media, on Instagram and Facebook, those are the two platforms that we're using. It's primarily showing off our work, our process, and our culture. And the reason why is because it's brand positioning. We want Butler to be known as the agency that you want to work with. We have a personality, we have a character, we have a feeling, a vibe. And so it's not only showing off our work, which we do want to do that, we want to put personality behind our brand. And so we're kind of pulling back the covers and you can see everything that you want to see on our social media accounts. And then YouTube, it's a completely different strategy. When I initially started our YouTube channel, it was to create kind of like FAQ type questions, answering questions for our clients. And I thought we were going to position ourselves primarily for our clients. And what I found is that we gained this whole other audience of creative entrepreneurs, people who do things like what Butler does. And so what was cool about that platform is we went in with a particular strategy, but it opened up a completely different type of strategy where we're offering products and services for creative entrepreneurs. The cool part is, as we've grown in our influence, as we've grown in our audience, and in our size and our scope of our YouTube channel, we're now getting leads from our YouTube channel from clients. And it's helped us go past the Central Valley. We're in Central California. It's helped us go past Central California, and now we're working with clients all over the country because of our YouTube channel. Okay, guys, that is it. So in conclusion, don't put all of your eggs in one basket. If you're gonna get found online, you have to have a thoughtful strategy, and a thoughtful strategy comes with understanding an overview of the different platform categories, how they work, how people expect to interact with them. And once you understand that, then you can put together the tactics that work for you and your brand.